Okay, the current issue with this one, although it flushes now, I had to come back a couple of times at night and clear this one. I had to snake it and it cleared up, but it's done in the end, so I'm taking the toilet off, see what I can find in there. Turn the rudder off, I'll flush it. It's working right now. Oh, I need the plunger. I gotta plunge the rest of that water out of there. Okay, using the plunger, I'll get rid of as much water as I can. I'll just bring a towel with you. Get out of there. And then I'm going to put a bucket under here. I'm going to disconnect the fill line, and then once I disconnect the fill valve, water's going to try to dump out of there. And I'll try to catch it. If not, I've got a little spongy deal. Try to get most of that so I don't dump it. As long as I pick this thing up off the floor and set it into the bathtub, straight up and down, I shouldn't dump any more water on the floor. My bad, I'm just so used to pulling the fill valves on these things all the time. I don't need to dump any more water. Whatever came out of there, whatever pushed out of there, disconnect this line, I'll pull the screws off the floor. Theoretically, if I pick this straight up, excuse me, take the nuts off. If I pick this straight up, it shouldn't dump, and I'm going to dump it over in the bathtub, so that when I put it back on, it won't go all over. I'll see what it looks like under here, if we've got a wax ring or if we've changed it to the foam rings. I'll dump it over and have a look inside the toilet. Hopefully I'm going to find a little plastic enclosed bar of soap or something that's floating around in there causing the trouble. Alright, let me get this thing up now. Alright, well, first off, for observation, it's got one of these offset thingies in it, which is not great. Not terrible. There's nothing in there. Yeah, well, that's got a contributing factor right there. And go straight in, but that shouldn't stop it from working. Let's see if there's anything in the toilet. Can't see. I'm just gonna have to do this, and then I'll look at the. I'll look at it and see if there's anything in there. Alright, let me play it back and see what I find. Well, I'm not finding anything. I went ahead and dumped it on over. With the hopes if there's anything in there, it'll fall out the other side, but I don't see anything in there. Anything in here. I'm feeling like it may just because of this offset. I may cut this side a bit on the little funnel dealie. I think that's what I may do. If I don't see anything in here, I'm going to flip this back over. If nothing fell out of there, I'll get me some gloves. Push this wax back up to its little tower so it'll seal up, and then I'll cut that little sucker, or vice versa. That'll make this hole bigger, give it better access to it. I think that's probably the issue. Okay. Alright, I'm not finding anything in there. I've manipulated it and got all the water out of it through the tube. Usually there's
there's anything in the toilet, it'll usually be right at the very bottom of it, or if you flip it back and forth, it'll fall somewhere, you'll hear it, it'll show up. Just to dispel any misconceptions, any water leaking underneath the toilet. People think, oh, the seal's bad on it and whatever. The toilet working properly, as you can see, there's a funnel that sticks down below grade, below the floor. The only way the water flushing out of the toilet can get out here is if that is plugged up and the water backs up this far and then can leak out. This seal is not designed for that. It just seals up the gases. The water goes by gravity, goes down. It does not come back up. So the water going down this toilet is going to be down here below the tile. So any kind of water leaking means you've got a plugged up drain line and not just a bad wax ring. The wax ring, if you didn't have the wax ring in there, it's still not going to leak. It's just there to seal it up a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut this little... Oh, maybe I'm not. Hard plastic. Usually the regular ones are just like rubbery. I have to take a look at that, pull that whole thing out of there. But I'm going to open that up to this as a bigger straight shot. As you can see, there's only this much room for everything to go down in that little hole because that offset. Okay, here's my solution. I took it to the belt sander and cut the flange that's under there. Okay, so here's the modified piece. I cut the flange below this belt sander because it's plastic. And you can see now it's got a much larger hole. Just heard from another tech, he just leaves them out altogether, but I'm not ready to give up on it completely yet. And I put the cutout on this side, so... Alright, I'll see how that works. If this gives me any trouble again, I'll probably just cut the flange off the whole thing. I don't think I want to take the whole thing out. I like the little funnel at the bottom there. Alright, we got the wax pushed back up. I'm going to drop this thing on there and put it back in action. Okay, back in place. Finished result. I believe that's flushing better. I think that was our issue. We shall see. I don't think there'll be any more calls from this one. Next.